estimation, Jeremy Morgan was about as close to a saint as you'll find walking in this earthly world.
That high praise from a close friend seems universal today for Forney High School coach Jeremy Morgan. The school district and his family confirmed the football and softball coach passed away from complications of COVID-19 on Sunday. We are deeply saddened by the loss of our friend and Forney family member, Coach Jeremy Morgan, Forney ISD said in a written statement. Our hearts, thoughts, and prayers are with his family and friends during this most difficult time. Coach Morgan was a blessing to us all, and he will be deeply missed.
He was always upbeat, always positive, a guidance, shining light for young people. He made an indelible impression during his time on this earth.
He was a Waxahachie High alum and former coach there, too, who went on to play at SMU. In Waxahachie today, they praised him as a model of character, faith, and discipleship. His family tells me they are not ready to talk publicly, but did let their tribute speak loudly on social media. His son writing, to the man who taught me how to be a man, I say thank you. All I have ever wanted to do is be like you, and never have I been more proud to call you my father. I love you, Dad. Rest in heaven. And his daughter with this message. Before he becomes another statistic, my dad just died of complications relating to COVID-19. The next time you think about going out after you've been exposed, think about him, Jeremy Morgan, and how no one else should have to go through this.
I don't know anybody that didn't like him. I mean, to know him was to love him. Sorry for the people that didn't get the opportunity to know him, because you're a better person for having known him.
In Dallas, I'm Kevin Reese.